Welcome to Depraved Society, where together we will explore the depravity of our society. This is the first episode in the series that I am calling Serial Killers That You've Probably Never Heard of Before. Starting off the series, we're going to discuss Colombian serial killer Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos, who was known as the Beast or the Monster of Genova. He is known to have one of the highest proven number of victims, and they were all young boys between the ages of 6 to 16. Garavito was born on January 25, 1957 in Genova, Colombia. He was the eldest of 7 children. Garavito's father was an alcoholic, and he was verbally and physically abusive to Garavito. He felt alone and as if nobody wanted him. When he was 12 years old, he was sexually abused by 2 men in his neighborhood. Years of abuse would lead him to the path of destruction and depravity. He never finished school and only attended school for 5 years. After years of abuse, Garavito ran away from home and survived on the streets. Having not finished school, he would bounce around from house to house. Although friends would say that he was a friendly person, he was easily angered. He would travel from home to home until he was kicked out due to his anger issues. During adulthood, Garavito would become romantically involved with 2 women who were older than him. They both had children from previous relationships. Although he was in relationships with women, he never was able to become intimate with his partners. He was becoming increasingly sexually attracted to men, and more specifically, young boys. Garavito would later become an alcoholic who was increasingly becoming more violent and sexually frustrated. He held a variety of jobs, but he was not able to stay employed as he was becoming more dependent on alcohol, just like his father was, and he was prone to violent outbursts. When Garavito was 21, he was spiraling out of control and tried to seek help. During the next 5 years, he would enroll into several rehabilitation centers in Colombia. He was suicidal, but never able to commit suicide because he stated, "Why would I kill myself? Life is beautiful." In 1992, Garavito started his criminal career. Fueled by alcohol and years of frustration, Garavito set out to take revenge on the people of Colombia. His victims were between 6 and 16 years old. His victims had the same socioeconomic background and had the same features. He preyed on boys that were orphans and poor. He had several disguises, and he switched up his hairstyles, and this threw the police off. He was able to get away with his sick crimes. He would dress up as a priest, a handicapped person, a homeless person, and as an official who worked for children's organizations. He promised the boys food, money, and alcohol, and led them away, far from their homes and neighborhoods. Once they were tired and vulnerable, Garavito would attack them. He would brutally rape his victims. He would tie his victims up with rope that, if they tried to struggle, would only become tighter. He would undress them and have his way with them. From there, he would get violent. He would kick their stomachs, chests, backs, faces. He would break their hands by kicking them. He would stomp on them and break their ribs. He would strangle them and castrate them and put their own genitals in their mouths. He would perform these sick acts during the day because he was afraid of the dark. Each time he committed a crime, he would write down the date, time, and location in his journal. In total, he would commit approximately 300 murders and would confess to 100 murders between 1992 and 1998. William Trujillo was one of 2 survivors of Garavito. This is his story. I was told by a classmate of my sister's to get a book. Suddenly, I felt someone hug my neck. He told me, "Don't make a sound or I will kill you." He took me approximately 10 meters away to a coffee plantation. In that area, there are many types of coffee being grown, and he led me there. Once there, many things happened to me. A lot of things happened. That man, first thing he made me do was kiss him. This man that police were looking for the murder of young boys, spared him his life. He never threatened me with a gun, but he did threaten me with a machete. Around 4 a.m., I was very scared, and I asked him, "When are you going to let me go?" He immediately said, "When the church bells ring." That was like torture for me. That night, due to the fact that so many boys were going missing, his family went searching for him. It was the night after that William returned home. He came home, and my husband grabbed him and asked him what happened. "Where were you?" He told him what happened, and we went to go look, and there was nobody there. He had hickeys on his neck, and he was pinched everywhere. Bitten. It was horrible. I told the police, and they didn't do anything. Officials were searching for Garavito after discovering mass graves of young boys. They were investigating why large numbers of boys were going missing so rapidly. They went unnoticed due to no police reports being filed for their disappearances. This was largely due to the fact that most of his victims were poor and orphaned. Another one of his victims survived, thankfully, due to the fact that the gag that Garavito used fell out of the boy's mouth, and he was able to scream and alert a homeless man nearby. Garavito ran away from the area. The boy and the homeless man that saved him ran into the neighborhood. The police were alerted, and they drove the young boy and his family around the area, and they were able to recognize Garavito. Garavito would later confess to his crimes. He is currently 64 years old and being held at an intermediate and maximum security prison, Valledupar, La Dramacua, in Colombia. Originally, he was sentenced to 1,853 years in prison, but had his sentence reduced to 22 years due to legislation in Colombia that prohibits life imprisonment. This isn't the end to Garavito's story, however. He has recently made headlines due to the fact that he has been diagnosed with leukemia and his health is failing. He is scheduled to become eligible for parole in 2023. Garavito is someone who I believe cannot be rehabilitated. He enjoyed inflicting pain on his victims. After years of abuse, it brought him pleasure to be the one inflicting the abuse that his father and his rapist made him endure. Colombians are petitioning to keep him locked up forever. Do you think he should be released or remain in jail? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Please also remember to live each day like it's your last, and kiss and hug your family. You never know when it could be your last day you see them. Take care. Until next time.